I'm Aleks.
And I'm Rob.
I'm from Novi Sad, Serbia.
And I'm from New York. Aleks and I started dating after meeting on a German cruise ship where we were entertainers.
And now we are in a long-distance relationship.
Until we can be together again, we decided to start a podcast.
We may come from different backgrounds, but that's exactly what keeps the conversation going for hours.
We can't wait for you to listen to this episode.
So sit back and enjoy it.
Because we have a lot to talk about.
In the words of Aleks. Hello, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
You've heard a few episodes already of us in Serbia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it is the first one that we are doing just two of us.
No, the video of us,
Oh, yeah.
there's that video of us trying American
snacks. Otherwise, we did a bunch of interviews with other people. And we were in one also.
Yes.
That was exciting.
Yes, and I think the episode that just came out, the episode that's coming out next will be with Ivana from Moja Kafa, Moja Blue.
Yes.
All the titles, all the AKA names. Yes, so next week you'll be hearing from our conversation that we had with Ivana about language. Yes, so you'll get to have a little bit more insight about what it's like being in Serbia, learning languages.
And a little bit more about languages from somebody who actually knows what she's talking about.
Exactly.
Because she's a linguist and... but yeah, that's like... what are we been doing? What have been...
Speaking of language. What we have been doing.
What we have been doing, exactly.
Yes. Man, if we could just dissect the, what is it, present, perfect, past, perfect, present, whatever. That's what I'm learning right now in German, where there's the, I have been.
Have been, yeah.
I was.
That's present perfect. In English should be like the have been.
I couldn't tell you what any of that means.
I know, because you're a native speaker. Same with Serbian for me.
But even, just those terms in general, I can't really establish, the difference between the different past tenses, the multiple past tenses. I went walking, I have been walking, I went on a walk.
I think that's about it, huh?
I don't know.
There is also, just came into my mind, the ifs. If I have done that, I would have been. That's difficult.
Yeah, that's true.
There's 3 forms, I think, of 4. One is super difficult, and then you kind of have the form, or let's say a formula how it should look, and then you try to change it. It's.
Well, I guess it's
I would be doing this. It's I'm just making it easy now, but I can't remember the actual form.
So they teach you that as a formula, because what's interesting is that
those if sentences, and then you twirl your eyes.
You probably do this in a way when you're speaking Serbian, because I'm not really sure of the grammatics yet. But
yes, I don't think about it.
If I'm thinking about ifs, so that's theoretical. A theoretical idea. When I actually create the sentence, I'm thinking of if I do this first, then this will happen. So then if I, even if it was in the past, if I went to the grocery store earlier, then then I would have been able to pick up. Then I would have been able to. Yeah, that's hard.
I would have been.
Yeah.
The good thing about English, generally speaking, in a normal conversation, you basically are sticking to present tense, I guess. It's normal conversation.
Yeah.
But then if you want to sound a little bit more advanced, more adult, not sounding like a toddler all the time. Yeah. Then you're gonna use some other forms, but for the most part, even in emails, you can be very it can be very yes, I am doing this, I am asking you this, or can you do that? It's very, when you think about it, it can be very simple.
Mm.
But then again, depends what you want to do or what kind of needs you have in life or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, you guys will hear in our conversation next week where we talk about, Ivana talks about, like, the differences, you think you know how to speak a language and all of a sudden you realize when you're trying to really get into, like, a philosophical or complex conversation, you can only do so much with the language when you're at a certain level.
Yeah.
Or is that Those are dogs.
Dogs, yeah.
So we're at Alex's home, and there's a lot of wildlife.
Yeah, but also, like...
And domestic animals around.
Yeah, and dogs. Every house basically have a dog, or has a dog.
Yeah, and cats. And his neighbors have, chickens and roosters, but he also has this fancy rooster, which today... There's some days where it's just... Oh, can you hear right now? Oh, no, that's an actual siren. But it sounds like a siren when it's, like, clucking.
Yeah, there's the bird that you like. Just straight.
Where?
See? Straight on the...
No, that's not the bird.
Yeah, but it is the one that you're like,
No,
nice.
it's not.
It has, like, a blue...
No.
No, but...
No, it's black with blue on it.
Yeah, but
That's a brown bird. That's a brown bird.
But you also said, like, you like... this looks nice.
No.
Okay.
That's not the one.
It's also a version of crow, by the way. It's from the family of crows.
I can understand why you think that, because it does have blue on it, and it has white.
Yeah, and a
but
little
that's
bit black.
Brown.
Yeah, she's
I'm talking about
basic color is brown, yeah, but it has like a kind of those bluish thing on
Yes, but the bird I'm talking about it's like black, looks like a raven almost, and then it has a little bit of white and a little bit of very bright blue.
Yeah,
I've never seen that before. Not that I'm like a bird watcher or anything. Anyways, maybe we should get into what the episode's about. Is someone burning something over there?
Could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Leaves or something.
Yeah.
See, they're burning that in the middle of the day, not like my neighbor burning something at...
Oh my god, yeah. The other night, like, Alex went to the bathroom, and as he leaves the bathroom, he looks out the, picturesque windows that face the street, and there's just this huge bonfire that I shouldn't be screaming. Oh, no, what? I can scream. Probably doesn't speak English.
Yeah, but we're not close to him.
Who cares? But he has this huge bonfire that's going, and it's probably around 11:30 at night.
Yeah, 11:30.
And, we're watching him, and, it's pretty beautiful, because, fires can be nice, and then he just walks away. And it's still, like, a few, like, it's at least a meter high still, the fire.
Yeah,
he just walks, like, turns off his porch light, walks inside, and goes to bed.
Yeah. But see that they're like that's I think are they burning also leaves in the spring like in USA?
So certain areas of the country you're not actually allowed to burn. I've mentioned this, but basically like in obviously in the west of the United States, the wildfires happen so easily that you're really not allowed to burn anything.
Oh yeah.
And I'm pretty sure in most places it's illegal to burn. But for all I know, there's certain states in, like, the middle of the country where it's just so, farm land that it's like, really, if you were to do that, it wouldn't really do anything. But the places where it's more windy and dry, you definitely aren't allowed to. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, some people here are actually, like, cautious. They're just, like, collect everything and just be around the fire. What he was doing... That was not a surprise to me, but it's like
I mean, it was exactly how it was described, which is a bonfire.
Yeah.
I mean, huge flames, almost as tall as the pine trees that it was next to.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, like if it is to catch my pine trees in my yard or in my neighbor's garden, what should you do to him? Like what's the
protocol?
What would he do actually after that? Like say just sorry? Like one
Well, do you guys have like insurance?
Not really.
Oh.
It's just like one tree is like burnt, and then I'm just like making
Yeah,
the
you're
story out of
spitballing,
it.
yeah.
But like I'm detaching my hose, and then we are like
You're the only one taking care of it.
Yeah, I will put like the fire out. Yes, thank you. I will put the fire out like with like in my yard. It's not like a problem. Hopefully, right? If it is not like a big crazy fire, but like, wow, what kind of money
Why
will he
risk
give me,
it?
or what?
Yeah.
You know, what's that's the thing that people don't think about. I would say, you know, what's like it's like nobody got hurt. Like,
do you happen to know like where he's from? Is he from around here, or did he live here before you guys lived here?
No, he came. He came later, but he is from the one town over.
So he most likely has like owned like farm garden property before.
He was living in the house, but more like, you know, the one town over is kind of houses are like stacked.
Yeah.
So it was more like that, but this is okay. He has to like burn some things that he like chopped and everything. I understand that, but it's like do it safely. Yeah.
For context for you guys, this area outside of Novi Sad is very similar to, if you've ever been to New England, I wouldn't say housing-wise, style-wise, but in terms of the layout of the town. You know, you have like a town center where if you didn't have a car necessarily, you could still walk to all of, like the main, like, you know, little shops. I mean, I'm talking about like a pharmacy and a grocery store, and, you know, maybe an outlying boutique or something, you know, depending on the town. And then as you go out, houses are further apart. But no, that's not the word.
Yeah, but it's very close. Just showing you.
That is nice. It almost looks like a blue jay.
I think it is a version of it.
Yeah. Because it's really big like a blue jay. Anyways. So the town, so it looks kind of like, and then as you go outside of like that small little like town, like a New England town, you have houses begin getting further apart, you have like little farms. But what's really interesting is imagine that in all of these places, you have full gardens. That's something, Liz kind of talked about it quickly. I don't even know if it was on the episode that she talked about it. Yeah, but Liz Learns Serbian, if you have listened to all of our episodes from the season. But both of us were saying that in Serbia, it's very normal to, even if you have just like a little plot of land, you will most likely, if you want to, fill it with like a really nice vegetable or fruit garden. And Alex's mom actually has an amazing garden. So does his sister-in-law and brother who live up the hill. They have like a really nice garden, and that's definitely something that's not, you know, people have gardens in the US, but I wouldn't say it's as common as it is here. And to have such a diversity of like seeds and crops and stuff. Yeah. So, like, this guy right across the street, he has, apples? He has an apple orchard in the back, and then he has a field of something else.
That's not his, that's the other...
Oh, that's a different guy?
Yeah, but it is field of apples, and used to be something else, I think peaches or something.
So then what is he burning?
That guy?
Yeah.
Something in the back, he has I don't know if it's a garden, it's a yard, like in the back of it. He was also he has fence that it's basically it one part especially it's like a bush plantation kind of. So he needs to trim that. I guess he was burning that. That's also burns because it was night. I didn't see if it is pines or it was probably that burns kind of. Yeah, but about the gardens, here it depends if you want to do it or not. Yeah, I guess. But even
when we were driving around, the city with the Roman ruins last summer.
Sremska Mitrovica, yes.
You know, that part is also a little bit more like towny.
Yeah.
People had like front gardens.
Yes.
And not just like flower gardens. Like flower gardens are very popular, like even in like New York City. Yeah. But to have like an actual like dedicated vegetable or fruit garden is like kind of unusual, even in suburbs, to find that. That would be like, you'd be someone who really has time on their hands in the US because it's
in Novi Sad you have
or in a rural area.
Yeah, in Novi Sad you have like a part of the town that is just houses. Like a few years ago they kind of intersected with two big boulevards. It's kind of disgusting for that, and they made apartment buildings along those boulevards, but other streets they didn't really destroyed. Let's say houses are there, and most of the houses, because they're like, I guess from the beginning of like 20th century, the main part of them, most of them, that's kind of thing in Vojvodina here. You have like 2 or even 3 yards. So the front thing, it's probably flowers, and then you have house, and then you have either the middle one, or you have back yard, which is basically back garden. And you don't necessarily see that from the front, from the street, but back garden can be like huge, and you plant everything you need there. So my aunt, they used to have like a house like that in that part of Novi Sad, and the garden was huge. So
well, what I also think is funny is like, to us a garden is like a 1 meter by 1 meter plot for your gardens. That's a vegetable garden for most people, I would say. Here, like he's saying, it's like your whole lawn is a quote garden. But for example, if you have 10 apple trees, that's still considered your apple garden. That's still considered a garden. You may not even really, like, I'm sure there's some people that are selling their vegetables, but really those are just for you. Like any of the fruits that you have. Yeah, for the most part, but to me, I'm like, that's an orchard. Like where I'm from in upstate New York, someone who has a farm like that, we would call it a farm, and you would have a quote small farm that you would still like sell stuff out of, or you would like sell it out of a like more mainstream farm for them to sell it. Yeah,
my parents did sell some extra. I can't remember, a few years ago. They sell it to the store.
But it's almost redundant in a way, because everyone has. You may have like different. You may share stuff, or like you mentioned last summer, like, oh, a friend of mine wants the goji berries, so I picked some, and then he was willing to like chip in a few. To pay for it, because it was such a large amount. Yeah,
and I also sold him the pomegranate, but the dry one for
tea.
For tea, yeah. But figs, like we have extra. When they're like done to be eaten, we can eat them like fresh. But you have extra, so my mom makes a jam out of them. So not to be like wasted, exactly. She will make that, and then we will have that during the year. That's something that's like kind of.
But last summer it was so funny because we were having coffee at his brother and sister-in-law's, and they have a pear tree in the back. And it just had so many pears on it, green pears, that they were basically just like falling down, and like the cats would eat it. Like they just had so many. It was like, it would be ridiculous to try to like eat all of them. And that's just, I think we just have such a food problem in our country when it comes to like everyone purchases their food. I wish it was more normalized to have, to like create your own produce and grow your own crops. It does take a lot of work. That's like not to be denied. Like your mom is out like every day. Working.
It's not for some things you don't have to basically do nothing.
Yeah. Oh, like some of these trees, it's like they just grow and then you pick them.
Yes. Yeah. But for some things, it's different. Also, you have people who are not as I would say, like probably younger people who are basically living here as they would live in the apartment building.
Yeah.
They're just having like a piece of the land that they can like walk on and have like a dog, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Before we get back to the episode, we have something important to share with you.
As you all know by now,
This podcast was started as a way for Aleks and I to connect while we are apart.
Little did we know how much the podcast would grow into something new.
In order to increase the quality of our content, it takes a great deal of time, attention, and hard work.
That's where you come in.
If you want to support us, we have set up a way for you to do just that.
Go to anchor.fm/we have a lot to talk about and click on support.
You will then have the option to contribute however much you would like to in order to support us and this podcast.
We already have a few supporters and are so thankful for your contribution.
Now, let's get back to the episode. In California, it's much more normal to have like an orange or lemon tree in your yard. And again, it just grows and you all you have to do is just like pick the fruit.
It's the goji is the same. The goji berries, which is like now it's like crazy. Now like last few years maybe it's like, oh, it's very healthy. It's you know.
I was watching a YouTuber today that was talking about it. I was like, oh my god, I've never heard of this until you told me about it last year, and now all of a sudden it's like popping up everywhere.
Yeah, but my mom was like a kind of trailblazer in that. I guess she planted that tree like maybe 5-6 years ago. It's not like yesterday or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It was like kind of when it started to be like, oh, I got you. Like I would be like, what? It's all you see. We have two and they're big.
Yeah, they're really big.
Yeah, so it's not like from like 2 years ago or something. It was more. I was like, why did you? She's like, oh, that's very healthy. That's good and like. It grows like I think 3 times a year, something like that, and it also just grows. So and it's also Asian, so it's used to like colder climate and warmer climate. So when it's spring and during the summer, it will grow like 3 times. Like
so it grows really well in this area.
Yeah, it's not a problem, which is great, and it's kind of a weed. It's kind of you just leave it there, like the pomegranates or the wild roses that I have. It's also. That kind of stuff.
Well, and it's important to say when I'm talking about like, oh, everybody in Serbia has a garden, like this is so popular.
Who has a house?
Now, like Alex's family's place is so unique. I would say like your mom really she grew up in like a farming village, so I feel like gardening and farming is really in her blood, and she like really knows what she's doing. But as you said, she's also very inventive, especially when she's cooking. I mean, she's really good at that stuff. Like. Yeah. The crops that you guys grow and like trees that you have are very like thought out and like, you know, probably more so than most people's gardens around here. Like when I say like you're in the like, you know, going back to the example I was giving earlier, like you're in the suburbs of the US and someone has a garden, they probably are growing like tomatoes, you know, maybe green beans. That's like what my grandparents had in their small garden.
She will plant tomatoes, by the way.
Oh yeah,
they're just not now, but
but I mean, like what I'm trying to explain is like this garden has that and more, and also that type of unique thing that you would find in the U.S. Like, oh, they have a small vegetable garden where they have these 5 vegetables. That would be like a very commonplace garden here.
Yeah.
If not a sad garden here.
Yeah.
You know. And that being said, your mom still has so many plants. I mean...
Yeah.
When we walk around the garden, there's like so much. She has like she has scallion, she has ginger, she has garlic, she has... And that's just like a cabbage, pumpkins.
And what are we eating every day?
Cherries, figs. Scallions. Green onion.
Yeah,
she has so much.
And what's the... Why do...
Arugula.
Arugula, yeah. That's
arugula,
like on the tap.
Yeah.
Every day it's like...
Yes.
It's like...
Yes. Yeah. The only thing she doesn't have is potatoes.
Yeah. For tomatoes are like... For all people listening in USA, you have to do a conversion. Like... we were measuring the record is 1 kilo and 50 grams. one tomato. Sorry.
Yeah, one tomato. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were pretty big last summer.
Yes.
And she had so many. She was just basically like throwing them in baskets and being like, please take these.
Oh yeah, and cucumbers.
Please
yeah,
eat these. So we would just have like salads like all day. It was great.
And just to note, so nothing with pesticides. So that would be like.
Oh yeah, that's.
Yeah. So.
Of course.
That will be organic.
Yeah. You guys really, you and your dad, every time we talk about the garden, just slightly, you're like, and it's organic, it's gluten-free.
Yeah, because
that.
because it's like now it's a kind of a thing. Oh, it's organic, and this is like a normal thing that when I was a kid, my grandparents grew their vegetables, and everything was like, it was not like a sticker mark, like, oh, it's organic.
Yeah. Well, the only
now
thing
it's
is,
kind of,
because
it's a
those
thing.
big farms, you literally have to have every single crop survive.
Yeah.
So that's why they put so many pesticides on it. But here it's like if it's too cold and the peach tree doesn't yield any fruit, then you're like, oh man, no peaches this year, I guess. That's kind of like the biggest, because it's not that your only food source is coming from the garden.
Yeah.
But if you want it to, a huge amount can come from the garden, which is a great option to have.
Honestly, for tomatoes,
Yeah.
we are not buying tomatoes, because when she plants it, and we have like in July and stuff.
Something that is also interesting here that I noticed is, so a lot of people in the United States own animals, cats, dogs. And I would say if you live on a farm, you've encountered the idea of farm dogs. Most likely they're like, a little bit more aggressive. They don't go in your house. Their purpose is to work on the farm for whatever, jobs they should be for, whether it be herding or whatever. And I'm sure there's actually a lot of people listening that have never even heard of the concept of like a farm dog only existing like outside. I only know that because I happened to work a theater job where we lived on a farm and we weren't allowed to pet these two dogs, and we were like, why? And they were like, they're the farm dogs. I had never even heard of that concept before. Here, it's very common, just like you would have an outdoor cat, to have an outdoor dog, where they only live outside, they never come in. Maybe even, you only keep them in a small cage outside. That wouldn't be, not when I say small cage, I don't mean like...
It's like a box.
Not a tiny box, but I would say like, like a few meters by a few meters, like nothing too huge. To some in the U.S., they would probably call that like animal cruelty, but here it would be like, if it's a small dog and it's like, happy where it is, it's...
Yeah,
not
some
too
people.
crazy.
Yeah, some people do that. Some don't. So
yeah, some people would probably would say like that's cruel to do to your animal, but no one's really gonna like be like they're horrible people that should be arrested. It's just it's just some people do that and some people don't.
Yeah, it's also more in the town mentality.
Also, it's also new here for your dogs to be spayed or neutered. So most dogs, are like, I saw a dachshund last summer with just the largest balls I've ever seen. I just I never like came into my mind that because all of our animals, for the most part, are spayed and neutered.
Yeah.
So you'd be like, oh, that pit bull is
to be fair, like it's in town, it's more like that. In the villages, I guess it's kind of half. Some people are like my cats, because they're from the shelter.
Yeah,
they're spayed, so.
Yeah, but I would say like where I come from, it's like not even a thought.
Yes.
Here, it's like most people are doing that, but it wouldn't be crazy for you to see many dogs throughout the day that don't. Also, everyone has like different types of dogs. Like I would say, like the versatility of dogs. Also, it feels like everyone on this street has an animal or multiple. If you have a dog that's an indoor dog, it's most likely a small dog. But there are people who have like labs. Like we walked by and there's people who had like labs on their porch. There's also a lot of wild dogs too. I didn't really trust Aleks at first, but we ended up going on a walk and we encountered not a wild dog, but just
it's a domestic dog.
A domestic dog, but who was an outdoor dog that wasn't on a leash, but had a collar and was like very friendly, but very big, and escorted us off our street.
Yeah, kind of roaming around that part, I guess, and it's probably not dangerous. That's why I'm not like saying that's okay, but that's what's happening. So just to give the listeners perspective, I live outside of the city, but it's like in terms of miles, it's like 5 miles from the city.
Oh my god, not even. I wouldn't even say, like, I could easily walk into town, walk to the park, walk over the bridge, and be in Novi Sad, probably within an hour.
Yeah, probably.
Really. And that's walking, so that would be like, you know, if I'm in New York City, that would be if I wanted to walk to Manhattan from Brooklyn. It really isn't, it's not very far at all. So yeah. But yeah, those are just like the major differences just from like, you know, being the first time I visited Aleks, we had an apartment in the city, so it was kind of more of like a touristy time, and this time it's more like just living together in
for the longer time.
Yeah, and in just like daily life in, you know, a smaller town outside of the big city, and
more rural community, let's say.
Yeah. But even then, I would say the houses are so close for a rural community, but it's...
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It's
still like a street.
And, yes.
Yeah, but it's...
doesn't feel like you're in the middle of nowhere, but you have enough distance from people that it feels really nice.
Yeah, true. And we can see city from here.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, it's true. Everyone has great view. I'm also really concerned for the mudslides. One last thing I'll say, and then we'll end this episode, where we didn't even talk about the topic we were planning on talking about. So next episode you hear us, and it's just me and Aleks, we'll be talking about music, but...
We promise.
Yes, but just to end here, it's a really funny thing that I noticed is, like, just, you know, cut earth.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I don't even know how to really explain this, like, on a podcast, but... Basically, like, if you're driving in a hilly area, you know, sometimes, like, there's raised earth on either side of you, and grass has kind of grown over that, or there's, like, a stone barrier that happens often in New York because there's so much, like, rock beneath the earth immediately. But here it's, like, dirt and, like, clay sand, so you're like, I feel like this can just cave in on me whenever. Yeah. Especially, like, and you have, like, so many houses on the Danube in the valley that you're like, I feel like one bad rainstorm and these houses are all just going to cascade onto one another.
That's what I was talking to Philip when we went on the walk with Senka that day. He has potential to look nice. I mean, the nature and everything, and the part where people barged into the nature with the road and everything, and you will see that like cut, and you will see somewhere maybe trash a little bit. In Spain, everything will be like tight. You will have like the pavement banking around. Yeah. There is no like this neighbor has like a kind of a fence. It's more like a mishmash of like. Oh, the best is the one guy, with the dog. Yes.
He has this huge. What type of dog is it?
Cane Corse. It's a type of a mastiff.
Yes.
It's big
huge.
And stupid.
And the first time we walked by, we're with Alex's brother and his niece, who is like 3 years old. And she's you know, tiny. Like a foot tall. And this huge dog starts barking and she's smiling at it. I'm like, this dog is going to leap over this. I wouldn't even call it a fence. It was a suggested area for the dog not to cross. It was like vines and wire that kind of was like, and he was like, his head was poking over it. I was like, all I have to do is just jump over and he can eat her up.
It's actually excuse for a fence. He's like, what the hell happened here?
It's like, that's where my property line is.
Yeah. And he put it that, I guess, because of the dog. Otherwise, why he will need it? I mean, why would he need it's not really a fence. But yeah, I mean, with that kind of like, it's okay, it's going to, you know, it passes like as a normal behavior, whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, so the next time you hear us, I've never seen those neighbors before. I didn't know so many people lived there.
How many people?
I would say the theme of this episode is I'm distracted from things going outside the window. But anyways, next time you guys hear from us, we'll be talking about music. I think we have a few more episodes before you hear just from us again. So next week is Ivana, and then I think we have a two-part episodes. We have two-part episodes coming up from our friends from the cruise world, Bjorn and Anna.
Yeah. A lot of things are in the making, so...
Yeah. So we can't wait for you guys to keep listening. We have a lot to talk about.
As you can tell, probably.
Yes. Because we can't even stay on topic. And, yeah. Bye-bye!
Bye! Thanks for listening. As a reminder, we have new episode coming out every Monday. If you like what we have to talk about, make sure you subscribe, like, rate, and review us, as well as give us a follow on Instagram @We Have a Lot to Talk About podcast. We really appreciate it. Until next time, ta-da!